attracts you to using steel as a primary building material in your architectural projects?
Okay, so steel, as you know, is very versatile. We can generate complex forms out of steel structures. The kind of flexibility that we get, especially the large span structures. We have concrete as one of the materials of construction, but we have limitations when it comes to the spans. Steel offers a wider area in terms of the column positions, including the flexibility that it can offer for installation works. So that is primary reason why people would go for steel structures.
So can you share any specific examples of how you have used steel in your designs or projects?
So most of the structures that qualify for steel in today's context are the industrial projects. As you know, post-COVID, there has been a lot of warehouses also which are coming in the Indian market. So all these buildings, whether it is a warehouse or whether it is an industrial project, use steel as the primary mode of construction for two reasons. One is extremely fast in terms of their installation practices, large span structures, which I also already mentioned. So apart from these two industrial and logistics verticals, we have been trying to use steel as method of material construction for complex projects, special structures, I would say, some corporate offices, which needs a unique design element.
So are there any architects or architectural projects that have inspired your interest in steel design? Can you share your thoughts?
Yeah. So some of the projects which we see, which are already executed in the European or Southeast Asian countries, most of the buildings over there either go for steel structures or it's a composite structure. So I don't say that we replicate the design, because every architect would like to have their own design intent. However, the inspiration is always there. There was one bank in Hong Kong which was nut bolted, and it was executed in such a way that we all know that Hong Kong was going to go to China back, and the owners of the company bank said that we would like to dismantle the entire structure and reassemble in UK. So that's the kind of inspiration which architects might be looking at. So yes, there are various projects which inspire us.
In what ways does designing with steel impact construction timelines and costs compared to conventional?
Okay. Most of the structures which are happening nowadays, especially the codal references, are changing a lot. People are getting a lot of FSI. Instead of the ground hugging structures, most of the structures now are going high rise. When I talk about high rise, it's no longer limited to 24 meters and 30 meters. I'm talking about 100 meters, 120 meters, 150 meters. And probably practically every city is having 100-meter tall towers. When you want to go high rise, that means, let's say, when you go 100 meters and above, there are 30 floors, 35 floors, 40 floors. So the element of time becomes very critical. In conventional structures, you need to wait for de-shuttering. In steel structures, we practically try to avoid that. So the timeline of construction reduces to a great extent in steel. The core always, of course, remains in RCC, but the rest of the floor plate, which is about 80%, goes in steel. So timelines is very critical. We can save lots of months. When you talk about saving of months, it's completion of building in time or before time, much before time, getting revenue generated out of those buildings. So that's the model which corporates or developer builders are interested into. Coming back to the cost, steel structures are expensive. Yesterday only we were discussing about steel and whether mass scale would reduce the cost of construction. So there is a general debate that even if you have mass scale construction in steel, costs may not come down to that extent, because most of it is material cost. So cost will be high in steel, almost 2.5 times. So we need to do a right balance between the timelines and the costs.
So how do you stay updated on the latest developments in trends on steel-based architecture and design?
So there are, thanks to internet, we see a lot of internet. We see a lot of, there are groups of architectural fraternity. We try to share information. We meet our friends who have been working in the country, outside the country. Some references do happen through developer builder suppliers. They come to our office, tell us about the new trends in engineering, in steel design. So that way, the connectivity with right resources is already there. Our is a big firm, so people know us, we know people, and that's how we keep ourselves updated.
So what challenges have you encountered when working with steel in your architectural projects? And how did you address them?
Okay, so the challenges I would say is the level of detailing is grossly missing. Since the level of detailing is missing, I don't see good contractors who can execute it in the right form. And addressing an issue once it is completed becomes very difficult. So we normally try to first give a focus on the right design consultants who can give us correct detailing, right partners who can who can install the projects the way it is being meant for.
What is your opinion on the future of steel in architecture, considering the emerging technologies and the sustainability trends going on?
Okay, let's talk about sustainability. Concrete once placed is a dead product. Even if you demolish it, it goes into as a debris. Whereas I feel steel has got that versatility. Even after a few years, maybe 30 years, 40 years, if you melt steel, it can be reused. So steel, in terms of its usability or sustainability, will probably be a better product. However, use of steel in architecture is very interesting. For that, a couple of things needs to be done. One is the architects who are designing projects need to be aware of steel as a material of element of construction, which is grossly missing. There are very few projects which are actually done in steel. Few projects are done in steel, so there is no need. There is no need, so there is no requirement. There is no requirement, and hence people are not exploring. Our codes are also responsible to a great extent because codes have not been upgraded for steel. So I would say it is an hand-in-hand thing. Let the codes get approved, let updated, and let the architectural fraternity try designing in steel.
The last question: are there any specific projects or areas within the steel construction industry that you hope to explore in the future?
The plethora is quite large. I would say airports, which is going to be the new trend in the Indian industry. You will see a lot of airports which are coming up. One of the best examples where steel structures could be deployed to a great extent. I think that's one of the areas which is untouched by us, by me, which I would definitely like to explore. Yeah.